Hi, I'm Daphney, and I am a certified date and relationship coach. And today I want to talk about two movies, right? Two movies that we all pretty much know, we've heard about, whatever, right? The first one is Waiting to Excel.
Four friends determined to face reality.
The one man I love is married and got a kid.
You tell my baby girl that her daddy loves her.
To find the perfect love.
Yes, y'all heard me right. Waiting to Excel. And the next movie is Sex and the City.
That if my friends and I ever got our fairy tale endings, that would be the end of the story.
Hello.
Welcome home, baby.
Now, if y'all haven't seen the movie, I'm sure you've seen some of the series, but let's just get into it, okay? I want to talk about the characters in these movies. So let's start with Carrie. I mean, we all know Carrie was like the main character in Sex and the City. And let me tell y'all, this woman, from what I can tell from the storyline, was great at writing love stories, novels, whatever. But she lived a fairy tale life when it came to her own love life, right? I mean, she was living in this fantasy.
I always knew she'd marry big.
You thought that after the second breakup?
Yep.
After the 15th?
Uh-huh. We broke up a lot.
And let me tell y'all, it's like she had this man that she always wanted. It took, I think it took her 10 years to like get this man to marry her. But the problem is that Carrie wasn't listening. So John, I'm not gonna call him Big, but we're gonna call him John because that was his name in the movie, right? So John kept trying to hint to her and tell her, and y'all know these straight men don't communicate well anyway. They're not emotional creatures like other people. Let me just say other people, okay? And he tried to tell her, this is not what I want. I just want it to be about us. And she wasn't listening because she, even after like 10 years, still wanted this fantasy, this fairy tale wedding, and she wanted it to be a big thing, and it was really about her, right? And what she wanted.
Yes, good night. It's the last single girl kiss.
The ultimate single gal, Carrie Bradshaw, will be married to John James Preston come fall.
Should we get you a diamond?
No, just get me a really big closet.
So, it was like, she got the person, she was successful, she's beautiful, all these things, right? But she just wasn't listening, and she wasn't hearing what John was trying to say to her. So let's just bounce over here to Bernadine in Waiting to Excel. We love Bernadine. We all know the scene. If you don't know the scene, honey, please go watch it. When she's going through the closet and she's talking to herself, and she takes these pile of clothes and she dumps them on the car and she sets it on fire, honey.
I'm leaving you for her.
You wait a minute. I give you 11 years of my life and you're telling me you're leaving me for another woman?
And she's walking like back to the house like this boss queen that she is. And if you didn't think that would top, the next thing that happens, right, is when she opens the door, the fireman is there, and he said, you're only supposed to burn trash, something like that, right? And she said, it is trash, and she closes the door in his face. I'm telling y'all, this was legendary. I mean, we love this stuff, right? But let me just say, as much as I love all that drama with Bernadine, and it really made a great, it really made for great movie, movie going and goers, to be able to be entertained, honey. But she also wasn't listening. Because I think that if she would have been listening, she would have heard a long time ago that this man was with somebody else and he was trying to, leave her for somebody else, because this just didn't happen, right? So this was going on and she knew it was going on, and she wouldn't listen, and she wasn't like hearing him when he was saying, so to speak, I'm not happy and I want to move on and I found someone else, right? So it was like these two women, they had, I think they had what they wanted in life. Bernadine had the big house, the children, the successful husband, the lifestyle that she wanted. But, each of them, Carrie and Bernadine, weren't listening to their partners when they tried to tell them, what they wanted, right? So let's just move on. You know, let's talk about Miranda. Now, y'all forgive me, okay? But I'm just gonna say it. This is one of those times when I don't think that playing a straight character works, honey. There was no emotional attachment between Steve and Miranda. It just seemed so fake to me and so forced, right? And here we go again. It's like, here is this woman who's very successful. She's doing what she wants to do, but her marriage is crumbling because she's not paying attention to it, because it's not a priority for her, right? And she's not listening to what Steve wants. And I'm not saying, you know, this is a she-he type of situation. What I'm saying is that, you know, she had her priorities, and her priority was work, right? And her priority was her child, but her priority wasn't her marriage. It wasn't her husband.
Honey, wax much? When you're married, you have a different set of priorities. This one's married and she's not growing a national forest.
And you could tell that, you know, in the relationship, you could tell that in the movie, you know, and it was just one of those things to where it's like, you have a lot, right? You're doing well, but you're missing, you know, something here, and you're not even realizing you're missing it because you're not paying attention, you're not listening, you're not hearing, you know, and watching for the signs that are happening, right? So that's Miranda. And let's just talk about Savannah, honey. Y'all know I love Savannah. I love Whitney Houston anyway. But, you know, she was successful. She was beautiful. She had everything, you know, in life that she wanted. But for some dang reason, she couldn't choose the right man.
Right now, it would be the wrong time. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer than I expected.
You see, the more I think about it, the more I look at you, you look like the scum of the earth.
And I'm just gonna say that she always chose men who were not available to her. And there's a reason for that. You know, most people choose people who are not available to them because they don't want to be serious. They don't really want to be attached long term, right? So it's good for a minute or two, but that's all it really is for. And this was Savannah. She had all these good things happening in her life, right? Very successful, very beautiful. You know, her profession was going well, but yet she couldn't keep a man. And I'll just say she couldn't keep a man because she didn't really want a man, right? And that's why she chose men who were not available to her. Now, let me just say this, because we all know the line, you know, when her mama says, Savannah, he's a good man, you know, and we all know he wasn't a good man. He was a dog because he was married with children and more children on the way, right? And so, you know, that scene will always stick with us, you know, is because people sometimes really don't know what it means to have a great, you know, healthy relationship and to have a really good partner. And that was a good example of, you know, the mom thinking that this is a great guy, this is a great person, when really he's just a dog, right? So let's move on. Let's talk about Robin. Oh my God, she was beautiful, she was successful, you know, but she always chose these losers.
Does he think he just did something here? I could have had a V8.
And y'all know this is one of those times when I'm calling them losers in a nice way, but you know what I'm saying. But it's like they weren't right for her, you know, and this is one of those times when, for me, it's like having a plan, having, you know, some type of methodology about the type of men you want, you know, the type of man you could see or type of person, should I say, that you can see yourself with long term. And this woman didn't have any of that. She was just choosing people just to be choosing people, maybe because they had a little bit of interest in her, and so she chose them, right? Which is huge, which is, to me, is a huge sign of a self-esteem issue, right? You know, it's like low confidence, you know, and just really not being empowered, right? And so, you know, Robin, to me, was a great example of a woman who, you know, she should have been really focusing on herself and not trying to find this, you know, wonderful, you know, picturesque, you know, relationship that she was looking for in someone else. She should have been really trying to find that in herself. So let's just get into it then. So let's talk about Samantha. Now, Samantha, you know, I'm not gonna lie, very disappointed, you know, when I went back to watch this movie, because, you know, there is more to a relationship than just sex. You know, I don't care how good you look. I don't care how fine you are. I don't care all the things, right? You know, we all want to be attracted to the people we're with, but there is more to a relationship than just sex. And this part with Samantha just really disappointed me. I was like, oh my God, why is this woman just so fixated on sex when there's so much more to a relationship?
You know me, I don't really believe in marriage. Now, Botox, on the other hand, that works every time.
I think she left a great relationship with a good man, and I'm just calling him good in the sense that, you know, he was the kind of guy you'd probably want to be in a relationship with, right? Hardworking, you know, loving, caring, supportive, all the things, right? But because, you know, she felt like she needed more sexually because he was too busy focusing on his career, she left this man, right? And I'm not saying that's wrong, but all I am saying is that there is more to a relationship other than just the physical parts of it, right? You know, so that to me was really disappointing when I went back to watch the movie. And let me just say, you know, let's just talk about the last two people. Let's go to Gloria. Now, I love Gloria. We all love the scene when she's talking about it, you know, as he's staring at me, you know, when she's talking about her butt, right? Because she's walking away from Gregory Hines.
Oh God, I hope he's not watching me walk away.
All right.
He's watching.
You know, we love that scene. She was sweet, she was kind, she was motherly, you know, she was lonely, and, you know, and she had some self-esteem issues because she thought because she was a little thicker and curvier that no one would want her. And I'm just gonna say, honey, let me just tell you, a lot of people want thick and curvy. It's a thing, honey, it's really a thing. So, you know, but she was, you know, one of the people that I was so happy to see that they were able to work out the relationship and able to move on, right? And I love Gloria. She was feisty. She was like, you know, this woman who told it like it was, but yet she was still kind and thoughtful and, you know, and loving to her friends, right? And to her family. So let's talk about Charlotte. Now, I don't know what in the, you know, Stepford wife type of situation this is for this movie, but I can't get with it, you know, and maybe it's just me. And I know there are people out there who want to just get married and have children and support their families. You know, if that's you, honey, I support you. I really do. But I was really disappointed in the fact that this character didn't have more going on for her. And even now in the series, right, it seems like the same old thing. There's not much to her, right? And it's like, you know, other than taking care of her family, raising her kids, loving her, you know, her husband, you know, keeping the house done.
And the prince lived happily ever after. You know, things don't always happen like this in real life. I just think you should know that now.
Socializing and fundraising. You know, I know people do that stuff. I guess for me, it's not enough. You know, it's not enough. Because I've always believed that women should have something for themselves, right? And maybe that's what she has for herself, but to me, it just fell a little flat and a little short. So let me tell y'all what I liked about this movie. About these movies. Jennifer Hudson's, you know, character on Sex and the City was the best part of all these movies, or both of these movies, right?
Louise from St. Louis. I just have one more question.
Okay.
How does an unemployed girl with 3 roommates afford the patchwork denim Boley Louis Vuitton bag?
It's rented. Bag, borrow, steal. It's like Netflix for purses.
She was fun, she was funny, she was smart. You know, I just liked her energy, right? And I liked that, you know, she didn't just sit around waiting for some guy. You know, she was still doing her thing, making things happen, you know, for herself. And then finally this guy came around and, you know, they were able to get back together. And hopefully, you know, based on the movie, they were going to get married, right? But I loved her character. And I think that, you know, we have to be more like that, like self-sufficient, smart, you know, fun, funny, you know, we have to make sure that we set ourselves up to be the priority, right? So let me just do this. Let me talk about like my points for this movie. And I really have one main point. And that is that, you know, I always talk about a effective communication. But today I want to talk about effective listening and hearing people, right? Really paying attention to what people are saying. And in this movie, I felt like, or these two movies, should I say, I felt like, this is where things fell apart, is that people weren't hearing what people were saying. They weren't listening to what people were saying. And so because of that, they heard what they wanted to hear. And a lot of times we do that. We hear what we want to hear, but we're not actively listening to what people are really saying to us. And that's what I want to say today, that not only do you need to be able to communicate effectively, but you also need to be able to listen effectively. I'm Daphney, and I want to thank you for watching another episode of Coachable Moments at the Movies.